Who are we?
Nobodies!
Speak for yourself.
Okay. We're Canadian filmmakers with the dream of surviving financially on the backs of our films.
Welcome to our show where we bring people along on our film journey.
Maybe we can learn a thing or two.
Maybe we can teach people a thing or two while drinking beers.
I mean, if you can't drink beers while filmmaking, what's the point?
We are Fable Forest Films, failing our way to success.
Welcome to Jurassic Park. I mean, our show. First frames first.
We're rolling.
Welcome.
We're rolling.
What a joke.
We have a...
Welcome to episode 36 of First Frames First.
I'm your host, Jason Green.
I'm your other host, Adrian Constant. And this is our guest. We have a guest.
Special guest star, Chris Grieg.
Hello.
Kru Chris Grieg.
That's right. And what is a crew?
Well, let's get into that. He runs the Muay Thai boxing gym in Kitchener called TKO Fighting Arts, and has been helping us with our Art of Eight Limbs Muay Thai series that we've been making for Bell. So
essentially, basically, it wouldn't have been possible. We needed a partner in order to move forward. We're the film guys, and we needed someone who knew about Muay Thai, knew about Muay Thai in the region, knew how to set up a show. And Chris came on board as our partner help us make that happen, because otherwise we probably would have just nothing would have happened. I mean,
welcome, Chris.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
First of all, they say to never trust a man who has two first names.
Well, I got three, so you're okay.
Do you have three first names? What's your middle name?
John.
Oh.
The most generic of all.
You keep that one hidden.
Yeah.
Down low.
Let's start off by I suppose just talking about how we met, or do you want to talk about?
I just want to before we move on.
Yeah.
What is a crew? Because
Nice.
you introduced him as Kru Chris Grieg.
Yes.
What is a crew?
So Kru is basically means instructor in Thai. So basically it's a designation that you get from like Thailand, right? So and Kru means instructor, so you need to get that designation from like an official Thai affiliate. So like if it was just like a person that started a Muay Thai gym but they don't have any ties back to Thailand,
Right.
they wouldn't have the qualification or certification to name anybody Kru, because the certification has to come from Thailand.
Okay.
Now, we were on your website the other day, and by the way, just the style of this show is we cut you off all the time. And each other. That's just the way it works. We were on your website the other day, and I don't want to pronounce it incorrectly, but you're a teacher of teachers.
On the website, it wasn't just Kru; it was something else.
Yeah,
What was
so
that?
Kru Ya, which basically it's means chief instructor. So that would be like the head instructor of the gym. It does have like a little more savoir faire maybe, but basically, like I get my like certification from a Thai like govern or whatever, like John Suchard from Toronto. He's Thai and he gets his certification from World Muay Thai Council, WMC, and then so he has the ability to name people Kru, right? As Kru Ya, John Suchard has given me the ability to not necessarily name people Kru, but to put their names forward as a Kru, right? So, and they have to go through a process. Like, it's not just like, I want that guy to be Kru, and then he's like, okay, that guy's Kru. But he's given me the trust that like I know what I'm doing because I've come up under him for so long or whatever, that if there's someone that I feel is worthy of the appointment of Kru, I put their name forward. And most of the time, like a John Suchar has to have some sort of like one-on-one connection with them, but most of my people even before they get to that point, I send them to a John to do training. So he would already know who they are. But so Kru is like chief instructor. There's also the Puchoi Kru.
I did see that too. Yeah.
Which is like Puchoi is basically the assistant. So the levels go like Puchoi Kru, which would be like assistant instructor, Kru, which is instructor, Kru which is chief instructor, which is like kind of like you own the gym or whatever. And then there's also Puchoi Ajahn, which is like Ajahn is master or professor of Muay Thai. So that's like one level under that. And then there would be Ajahn and then like master, I guess. So
now, if people call you Kru Chris, do you say whoa, Kru
Kru
no, actually, I personally...
Because I would.
I like just Kru. To me, like the Kru it is a designation, but to me, it's more just familiarizing with the fact that you're the gym owner and like, someone could say, oh, that's Kru but for me, like Kru is good enough. It's like, it's all about the one syllables, right?
Yeah. John, Chris, Greg. Kru's too much. One toe over the line, fellas.
That's right. So Kru, when especially if like even with the kids, at the gym or whatever, I just say Kru Chris, and that's good enough for me.
I will say, the people that watch the show have heard us talk about this a couple times, but when we first kind of kicked off the idea of doing a documentary about Muay Thai to Bell, I had been doing Muay Thai for a couple months. Adrian I don't know if you heard this story, but he did Muay Thai in South Korea.
South Korea, yeah.
And then went to Thailand to...
Yeah, just for a month.
Just for like a little bit of tourism Muay Thai, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, it is huge tourism in Thailand. They're like, you go there, you live at the gym, you train for a month, and then you fight someone, and then they send you on your way. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure I fought a bus driver. He wasn't like, because it felt like he was the biggest guy that they could find. They were like, hey, you're gonna fight on Friday night. You're fighting, and I get at one point in the fight, he just kind of was like, okay, this is heating up too much. I got to drive a tuk-tuk tomorrow, so he just fell down. He was like, I'm out.
It just hit me.
yeah, that's what it felt like. But it was cool. It was great.
And how long have you been doing Muay Thai yourself?
Well, I started, I guess, learning Muay Thai in 2000 was when I started. I did various other martial arts before that, but I started at TKO actually before I took it over, and then so in 2000 is when I started that. And I actually went to TKO because I thought it was a kickboxing gym. I didn't even know what Muay Thai was. And then I was training, and like I knew, like I did kickboxing before I went to TKO, and then the kickboxing gym that was in town or whatever, but they would never get me fights. But I always seen TKO at the fights. So then I was like, well, I'll go to that gym because they seem to be getting their people fights, right?
Yeah.
So I went there, and I didn't even know what Muay Thai was, but I knew these guys they like kick weird, and they throw knees sometimes. I didn't.
So just give the people just a sense of what are
all 6 people that are listening.
Yeah. One of them is my mom,
and the other one's his dad.
But tell people what Muay Thai is. We've been telling them, but tell them what Muay Thai is and just a little bit of difference.
The difference between kickboxing and Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Well, a good place to start would be at the Art of 8 Limbs, which I really love that you guys came up with that title. You originally had your original title, and then
originally we were gonna go with
KW Combat.
Yeah,
and with a K.
And I told you that was pretty cheesy, right?
Yes.
Good call.
And
Jay loved it.
Yeah.
Jay put his foot down. He loved the name, but the Art of 8 Limbs, it stuck.
No,
Yeah.
But I loved when you guys came back, and KW Combat or whatever, is so generic and it's so like washed. And then you came back and you know, it seemed like you actually did some research or something, you know, and then you came back with this awesome name, and I was like, well, what I felt was awesome, and I was like, man, that makes so much more sense now. Like that's something I would be into, right?
Well, it's not only like KW combat is only about the fighting, whereas the art of eight limbs sort of it feels like it goes deeper, like the waters. It just runs a little deeper than just fighting, which is great.
And I do love that they do call it the art of eight limbs, and they because it's very specific to Muay Thai. You kind of get away from, just combat in general. Like, what is KW combat? It could be anything, but this really is a Muay Thai documentary, which I think is really cool.
So the difference, kickboxing, like people understand kickboxing.
Well, and I think just what we're talking about is almost that as well, right? Like, where Muay Thai, you have this art that's like, it's all encompassing and it's something of its own, where like kickboxing, it's like combat, these guys are like fighting, right? And aside from the rules, like the rules are very different, but the what goes into it, like what goes into Muay Thai, like with the lifestyle and the rituals and I'm pretty sure even in kickboxing the relationships are deep as well, but it's just like that much deeper, and it has more heritage, and it it has the art behind it. Kickboxing definitely is like an art, but like kickboxing came from karate, right? So it was like a bunch of tough karate guys that were like fighting karate, and they needed like a place to fight each other actually, right? And then it was like ex-boxers that were like couldn't make it as full-time boxers, so then they were like, well, we'll just do this kickboxing thing and we'll just box these guys that don't know how to box, right? And then kickboxing itself has a rule where you have to throw 8 kicks. Like there's a person counting that you count your kicks, right?
Wow.
Because it gets so like boxing heavy, because like it's the boxers are like we're taking over the sport, right? So then there was like where like in Muay Thai, no one's counting any kicks, but there's like the knees and the elbows and everything, but just the whole style of fighting is different too, right?
They should add headbutts.
There actually is an art, this guy on it's like, I don't want to butcher it's like Lithway or something, but he's it's like a style of fighting, and it's like Muay Thai exactly, but with headbutts. And you see this guy on the pads, and he's like headbutting the pad and everything. It's like, it's pretty badass, man.
Where does it come from?
Lithway or something like it.
Okay, some European.
You could be the first gym in Kitchener-Waterloo to start headbutting people.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing.
You should watch this guy I have him on Instagram, man. It's crazy. And like you see these guys fighting, and I think it is mostly like Thai fighters. They'll do this, right? Because they're just making money, right? And they'll like fight these guys, and like they're just headbutting each other, and you're like, no, I don't want that.
That's what you got to protect, man.
That's the line.
That's the sacred thing.
I don't know. I think that's the line for me. Like I just headbutt.
Game over. So tell me, what at the beginning of the fight, they put the
Mong Kong
on. What does that symbolize, and what is that?
Well, the Mong Kong, it's like Muay Thai in general is very like spiritual and very superstitious, right? So the Mong Kong, it has like spiritual aspect where like this is the teacher like putting this on the student, right? So the Mong Kong can never be put on like from a student to another student. It always has to be like a higher up putting it on.
Yeah.
And then like you say a prayer. The prayer can be it can be specific to like Muay Thai, like a Muay Thai prayer, or it can be specific between the two people. It could be like gym specific, you know, but just something to kind of like, you know, you're sending this person on, right?
That's right. And you know what? In the episode that I'm editing right now, Jay Woo, he gets into the ring, and I didn't realize this because I wasn't around at that point. But one of the camera guys was filming, and Jay and his instructor Shannon, they say a little prayer at the side of the ring. And I was like, that is awesome. So I'm actually excited to hear what he says because we have him mic'd. So it's going to be interesting to hear what he says.
He's probably like, "Dear Jesus, please don't let that axe kick get me."
Yeah. If only I knew.
Yeah. No, just please don't let Jay get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Hmong Kong itself too actually has can be identification as well. So like you'll know like, oh, this Hmong Kong due to its styling is from this particular gym or belongs to this particular fighter. Yeah. So like it can be personalized as well. But yeah, so that's pretty much the gist of the Hmong Kong there.
Very cool.
And there's like they do the charms on the arms and stuff, and all that stuff, it's all blessed by monks as well. Like, so when you buy a Hmong Kong, like before you use it, you should take it to get blessed. So like a lot of times, all our Hmong Kongs were blessed either in Thailand by the priest, or like Ajahn Suchar blesses our Hmong Kong as well.
Sure. So it isn't just about punching a guy in the face.
No,
there's more to it than that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the punching the people in the face is what
gets people in the door.
Totally.
But what keeps them is, you know, I have to say the word is the community, right? And that was one of the biggest things. You know, I did kickboxing, and I've done like lots of different martial arts, and I'm not like, and I was younger when I did them, so the whole idea of community was not as like
prevalent as now
now, because I don't understand it as well back then as I do now. But one of the biggest things, like going from the kickboxing gym to the Muay Thai gym, was like that whole sense of like, whoa, man, like these guys are all together, like this is like a big family. And then like once you start to get in the game a bit more, and then you're like, oh, not just the gyms are just these little segregated pods of people that like fight each other. It's like, no, everyone's kind of together, and like, yeah, we fight each other, but like we're all here together doing it, and we're all moving in the same direction, like going down the same river, I guess, right?
Amazing.
So, and that was like, that community for Muay Thai was like one of the biggest things. And I think when you go to Thailand too, like I'm sure it's a lot more like separated in the fact that, like, you know, obviously those guys are doing it for money and they're trying to make their well-being, but they are all doing it together. And like just the whole Thai people, like my experiences in Thailand was always like, they do live in these little communities where like kind of, you know, this person makes bread and this person catches fish and this person cooks the fish and this person, you know, gathers fruit and this person cuts it, and we all pool our resources and make it happen for each other, right?
And this bus driver gets punched in the face by white men. That's his job.
Well, the thing is, I mean, he made a couple extra bones, and I think when they know it's your when they know it's your first fight, or right at the beginning, if you go in there and get smashed, you'll never come back. But now there's a chance. You're like, okay, might come back. Maybe. You know, then slowly, gradually, you can fight someone who's, you know,
amazing.
So tell us about your fight career. Where did it start?
Where are you from originally?
Just Kitchener, born and raised here. Yeah.
So, like, tell us about your fight career. Like, what happened? Who did you?
Well, again, like I started in the kickboxing or whatever, so I had my experience with kickboxing at the other gym, so, and then I wanted to fight though, so, and I wasn't getting fights at that other gym, so I came to TKO, and then like within a month, you know, the Steve Witter, like my coach or whatever, he was like, you know, I was just doing the beginner class, and he's like, calls me to the back, he's like, you want to fight? I was like, yeah, I do. So then
that's why I joined.
Yeah, he's like, well, we're having fights next week, you know, or in 2 weeks, you want to fight? So I was like, yeah. So I had that first fight and like totally gassed out or whatever, you know, and it was like what every first fight usually is, right? So but that's where I started. I actually started fighting in the kickboxing because, like, you know, we were a Muay Thai gym, but kickboxing was like, I don't want to say more popular at the time, but it had a lot of popularity. So and so a lot of my like beginner fights were in kickboxing or whatever, because I didn't even know like what the Muay Thai was or whatever, but the Muay Thai was always going on, but I was just focused on kickboxing because that's what I knew from before. So I did a bunch of kickboxing fights, like same thing, just doing amateur fights. And then personally, I wasn't really like planning on being good or anything. I just wanted to fight, like, you know, wanted to keep myself busy. And give myself something to do.
So it wasn't like an aspiration to fight in the MMA,
no,
Ultimate UFC or anything like that. You just wanted to fight.
Yeah,
Now, is kickboxing as prevalent today in Ontario as Muay Thai? It's
definitely not.
Yeah.
So it has changed. Hey,
Yeah.
the popularity has changed. Like Muay Thai, because even Chris from Double Dragon, he was like, Muay Thai is just like exploded.
Yeah.
Like it's just going crazy, the number of Muay Thai gyms. And he was saying kickboxing has become so expensive to get officials to come out to have a kickboxing event that the kickboxing gyms are like, well, we want to fight. We also want to, so they come over to Muay Thai because the price is more reasonable.
Yeah, definitely it's taken that whatever paradigm shift or whatever.
Why do you think kickboxing is less?
Muay Thai is just way better. As soon as I started fighting Muay Thai, I was like never going back to kickboxing. Well, I actually did go back to kick. I was probably one of the few people that I would fight a kickboxing fight one week, a Muay Thai fight the next week, then like a K1 fight the week after, and I would just switch between all three.
What's the difference between K1 and kickboxing?
So K1, you can like strike to the... Kickboxing is everything above the waist, right? So you can't kick the legs, and it's very like point heavy. Okay. So like, you know, they're looking for like points, I guess, right? They still have like the 10-9, like a boxing fight, but you know, it's like everything's a point. Oh, you kick the guy in the head, that's 3 points, sort of thing, right?
Okay.
Isn't karate very points driven too?
Yeah. So, and just like what I was saying, how like the kickboxing came from
karate. Bare knuckle karate? Is that a thing?
Yeah,
it was.
And that's what I mean, right? Is like the karate guys probably wanted something where like they could do it legally, you know, maybe make some money, make some fame. So then they had to adapt it to fall into some sort of like rule set to get some sort of sanction from the government so that they could do it, which meant, okay, well, you got to wear gloves. And because you're hitting with your feet, you got to pad your feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where like all of a sudden kickboxing was born, right?
Yeah. Do they wear kickboxing? Do you wear gloves on your gloves?
Booties.
Gloves on your feet, booties.
That's adorable. Kickboxers are adorable.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to like elbows and knees that have no padding, you're like. Whoa.
Do you ever talk to a kickboxer and say, "Oh, you guys don't use your knees and elbows. You guys are cute."
Adorbs.
You're like, no. We don't.
There's so few kickboxers around these days, and they all know their place.
See, that's
gonna get a knock on your door.
Yeah.
That's podcasting gold. That is.
Somebody's gonna come to TKO.
Hey, anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Amazing.
So, yeah, I guess, I mean, A, thank you for doing this. B, thank you for helping us put this show together because at first we thought, oh, you can just put on a show. This would be easy.
Well, what we thought was because shows happen all the time anyway, we could just like piggyback on a show that was already happening. We would just like, finagle it. We just finagle it so that the fighters that we were hoping to film would be in the show, and so it would just be like a really smooth operation. Little did we know,
because what we wanted was we wanted every fight in the showcase or the fight night to be regional people matched up against regional people. We thought this is going to be easy. There's 5 or 6 or 7 Muay Thai gyms in the area. We figured there's going to be lots of fighters. So give us a little bit of a rundown on how that went and just the general sense of what it's like finding fighters.
People.
Yeah. Like, do you guys have fighters that are awesome that can't get fights because different reasons?
Yeah, and I would, when you're talking about this, just touch on the cancellation thing, because we had no idea. Even speaking to Stefan at Mass, he was saying he's like, he wants to fight, he's hungry to fight, but like to find a guy, then you find the guy, then the guy has to make weight, then you know what I mean? It's just all the stars have to align in such a way that what you end up doing is you end up having fights cancelled all the time. And it's really difficult, especially like from my perspective. If I was dieting, working out every day, getting ready for a fight, and then you arrive at the fight venue and your opposite number, he hasn't done the work, or she hasn't done the work, I would be so angry.
Yeah.
I would lose my shit. You've got 2 months. You've been working towards this, and this fucking prick hasn't eaten his veggies. He's been eating his McDonald's burgers like an asshole. Doesn't make his weight, or the blood work doesn't come in, and you're like, come on, guy.
Well, that's definitely something that definitely had to address before. I remember when you guys came to me and I could see the green in your eyes.
You're like, these guys are idiots.
Oh, God. Okay, I'll take your hand and lead you through the pasture.
So, I talked to you guys about some of the hurdles, and, you guys were pretty receptive of all those things. But, just the fight that I had prior to the other 8-limb show that I had, I guess it was maybe like 6 months prior to that. It was the September, right? So I had 9 cancellations.
What was the title of that show?
Muay Thai Fights at Maxwell's.
I mean, that's a good title, but
I don't know. I like the art of 8 limbs. I was like, I'm gonna have to talk to these guys about some copyright issues here.
Just keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
But
so you had 9 cancellations.
9 cancellations the week of the show, and it's
how many fights in a show roughly in your shows?
So and like what I told you guys too, like 8's on the low end, 14's on the high end, right? So at my last show there in September, the Muay Thai Fight Show, I actually had 14 fights, like 15 potential fights lined up. I'm like, oh my God, we didn't have any cancellations. Like, this show is gonna last forever. Like, I don't want this many fights. But you book that many fights because someone's bound to whatever, their dog died or whatever,
Yeah.
So then
and listen, if a dog dies, it's really sad.
It is
and of
sad.
course you should take you don't want your dog to die and then get punched in the face. Take the time you need.
I just think, hey, just leave the dogs. Nobody cares about the dogs. No, we do care about the dogs. I just think that if somebody's going to get involved in a Muay Thai fight right from the beginning, because there's money on the line, a show costs an amount of money. Costs, like, to put a show on, we were looking at minimum 10 grand, 8 to 10 grand to put a show on. So if a fighter says yes, like you put down $400,
Yeah.
you get that $400 back when you fight. I don't know, because you should not be able to just be like, yeah, I'm not feeling the best.
Yeah. No, and I totally agree with that. It'd be hard to. It would be something I feel like on an organizational standpoint, like say from MTO, like Muay Thai Ontario, the organization, like
Right.
I feel like you would have to, in order to get that going, like, you know, that'd be something maybe you would do through them, like if they could enforce that
But it would,
somehow.
but it, and
But-
you could have the gym. In theory,
Yeah.
you could have the gym pay the not
Yeah.
not necessarily the kid, because
Yeah.
maybe the kid is I
Totally.
don't
It's
know,
just
10.
look if you because people are investing time, they're investing money, so like it's not that you want to bankrupt the person, but listen, if you're gonna cancel, it's got to sting just a little bit, and maybe
Yeah.
not $400, maybe just a couple $100,
No, I
But-
totally agree.
but it just stings. So you're like, oh, we
And
won't do that again.
For us, like the suggestion that you made early on, which was because we had always said we wanted to have 5 episodes, right? So we were like, we just need 5 fights, right? And you were like, no, you need 10 fights.
yeah.
Because 5 of them are going to quit. And we were like, oh, everybody's going to, this is a TV show, man. Everybody's going to want to be part, nobody's going to cancel. And I think we had, if I recall correctly, we had 8 or 9.
Yeah, I think 9 was.
I
the
think we had
final.
9. But that was
This is
just
local. This is
was
just
9
local people.
and then you had maybe another 5 or 6 or
No, I think. Well, I think there was only 9 fights total. I thought.
at the end there was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but I mean we had
for us to film, we were filming like Aaron's fight.
Yeah.
These are the ones that we were filming that actually canceled.
so we had 3 or 4 that got canceled from our show. So you had a couple extras. And on the fight night, we had we don't want to give things away, but we had a scare that one of our fights wasn't going to happen at all. And we thought we would only have 4 shows, and we were talking the whole time, if we only have 4 shows, we're going to do a whole show about how shows get canceled all the time, because we wouldn't have had a 5th show. And it just worked out on the night, and we got our 5 shows for the night, so that was amazing. But yeah, that was hectic.
Yeah, so putting a show like this together, like the Art of 8 Limbs, what does it take? Where do you start? What are some of the cornerstones of building a show like this?
Well, definitely, for me, it's having I have like a team that I use, and just making sure that those guys are on board too. Like doing a show or putting on an event, I guess, is a better way to put it. It's a lot of work, and I'm good at certain things, and I have people that are better at other things than I am at those things. So for me, it's about getting those people on board first, and then it's just the grind. It's like on the phones, on the emails every day, and it's funny too, because like you can't be too early contacting people, and you can't be too late either.
There's a perfect window of time.
Because like people don't want to give their fighters too soon, and they don't want to, and then it's too late, right? So even like it's funny because like there's a show in August, and like I got contacted for August, but I'm like, well, I'm not giving any fighters because I'm going to provincials at the end of July, right? So like it's poor timing for them to have a show early August because of the provincials. They know that, but I know of shows in September, I know of shows in October, and these are like big shows, like, but I'm just like, I'm not prepared to put my like commit my guys, because like I'm not sure where my guys are gonna be at that time, like in their own headspace, right? And so, and especially dealing with amateur, right? Like that's, there's a level of amateur where, this guy wants to do it and he wants to go, but then there's a level of amateur where like, yeah, this guy's in school, he's studying for exams, he's like, maybe he's just starting a new job, maybe he's got a girlfriend, who knows, right?
Yeah.
So, and all those variables. So when you're putting on a show, like, you know, the timing, actually, when you contacted us about doing the show, I was just talking about putting the show on for September, which is still coming up, right?
Yeah. So just to put it into context, we contacted you in February.
I think it was February.
And we put the show on April 28th.
April 28th. So it was like, as soon as, like, we spoke.
We did speak. I don't think we spoke to you first.
No, we
spoke to Mass and
to you guys, TKO. Then we went to Dark Side, and both guys had good things to say about you. They had worked with you both, and so we were just like, this is the guy. If he says yes,
what I liked about what you had to say in our first meeting, you were like, look, well, I'd like to do this, whatever you guys need, blah 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 blah. But you said you should probably choose one gym to run the show, and just because at first we were thinking, a bunch of you guys could team up and kind of help put the whole thing on together. And your suggestion, which we ended up, taking, which I think worked out really well, was you just said, look, if you want me to partner up and work with these other guys, that's fine. But I just think that you should probably choose one chief and have them drive it, because too many cooks in the kitchen and all that kind of stuff, right? And I think that was very smart. I think, and I appreciate it. Having you, run the show, and you had your guys that were doing the different things, it ran, in my mind, pretty smooth. Even though half the time I was like, do we have the people, what's going on, because from our end, we just wanted to make sure that, number one, for us, what was really important was the matchups, right? So I couldn't get the matchups fast enough because we needed to start.
Like, relax, man.
You're like, it doesn't matter, but for us, we knew we needed to do a bunch of filming leading up to the fight, right? Yeah, whereas for you, because it added an extra layer of complexity, because normally for you would just be like, yeah, I just set people up, and then on fight night we just show up. But for us, we had all that extra filming to do, because we really, now we showed you the pretty close rough cut of episode number 1 tonight, so we can talk about that in just a second. But you kind of get a sense of the extra stuff that we did, right? You got a good feeling of who the fighters are, a little bit of kind of how the gym works in the city and all that kind of stuff. And so those were the pieces that we needed to capture before any fighting actually happened, right? So I was always like, how are we doing? Okay, these two are matched up. Okay, it's time to start filming, et cetera, right?
So yes, so we're going to talk about the episode. Just putting a show together. Some of the cornerstones that I like, the venue, locking the venue in place for a specific date.
Yeah, that was a nice little hurdle, and everything that we overcame there.
Yeah, so like, because the thing is, we basically got the only free Saturday that Maxwell's has for the next 400 years.
Yeah.
Like, they just
was
had a
weird.
It was so weird. They had, because that's the first thing you do. You find out the venue, you find out the date, and we were talking initially about a Wednesday, Thursday night, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we happen to have nothing on Saturday, the 28th of April." We're like, "We'll take it."
And then also too, we had to MTO, the sanctioning body, also had 2 shows already on that date, so we had to approach.
Well, now let's mention that MTO, the governing body, number
Muay
one,
Thai Ontario.
Muay Thai Ontario. Let me just say that I talked to Muay Thai Ontario before I talked to you guys, and the one thing I learned was that you can't just put on a fight night. So that was again. This was.
What, I can't just use all your fighters?
This was just
TV.
Originally, I thought, stupidly, which is fine, but I thought, we're just going to go to these gyms, we're going to get a bunch of people, we're going to put them in a place, and they're going to fight each other. You cannot do that. In fact, we could not even put on a Muay Thai fight. It has to be put on by a gym, and it has to be sanctioned and approved
Yeah.
by the governing body. And so, of course, that makes sense, but we didn't think of that. And so they only have the ability, like the actual referees, to
do
two
shows
shows
on a
in
day.
any given day.
Yeah.
And our day, even though that was the one day that we got the venue for, they had 2 shows for that day. So,
But they hadn't been confirmed. So
right.
the 2 clubs had come, they had said, we're thinking about this date. They had sort of penciled it in. And that's where you
I
have
assume you
Chris-
ran down to the gym and like elbowed somebody in the face.
No, actually after. So what ended up happening was MTO sent like the letter or email to those 2 gyms saying like, someone is looking for this date. You need to put your deposit in or you're going to lose the date. And actually both gyms put their deposit in.
Ow!
So,
What?
Yeah. So then.
So how did we do this? How did this
So I talked to MTO and I was like, well, who are the gyms? Give me their emails or their numbers and I'll talk to them. So I sent both gyms a message saying like, listen, this is what I'm doing and this is like my stakes or whatever. Like, I understand you got the deposit down and everything,
Right.
but you know, if it's possible and you can move your date, that would really
We're
help
doing
me out,
something
right?
really solid for the Muay Thai community.
And so then the one gym was like, no, we already have like sponsors and all that stuff. And then the other gym was like, they bent pretty, like, I wouldn't say bent, but they were like, yeah, you can have the date. We didn't really like whatever anyways, right? So I was like, oh, I'll help you out. So actually they just had their show. There was the early July show. So I was I just sacrificed Dan. I'm like, Dan, I'll fight for you. So then and that's like I actually gave him Dan and then this other girl that has like, she has like 15 fights too. So it's 2 like really good athletes. I didn't even just like give them like, oh, here's 2 kids, you know, because I told them I'd support. And I said, I'll give you Dan. He has the title. If you can find someone that's eligible to fight the title, boom, title fight on your show, right?
Oh man! Now, just when you say title fight, the title is. What is the title?
So the Muay Thai Ontario title,
In his weight category,
yeah,
is Dan's.
yeah. So
Oh.
Is it
Still
Dan's?
yeah, like the way that
crushed him.
the way that I love the Muay Thai Ontario because of the way they do their belt system. A lot of organizations allow promoters to make belts. So you could have like, if my promotion is Muay Thai Fights, your promotion would be Art of 8 Limbs. So a lot of sanctions would be like, you'd be like, oh, I want to have an Art of 8 Limbs belt.
We do want to have an Art of 8 Limbs belt.
So then, and the the sanction would be like, sure. And then you pay them whatever, $400. And then now there's an Art of 8 Limbs belt at 147. And then these 2 guys fight for it. These 2 guys don't have to, like, usually you get one really good guy and one guy that's going to lose to that really good guy, right? You're loving it, eh?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We want a belt.
100%.
We want to make belts.
But
Can we have a belt? No.
But the best thing about MTO is they actually accumulate points. So like you get, I think it's like 100 points for a win, 10 points for a loss, and 0 points or whatever, I don't know, for nothing, right? And then you can only fight for a belt if you're in the top 5 of the points.
Mm-hmm.
So like even Dan and Shane's fight, because Shane hasn't fought enough times in MTO, Muay Thai Ontario,
It couldn't be a title
because
fight.
he doesn't have accumulation of enough points to get him into the top 5.
So what you're saying is, so long as I lose a lot,
but
I could have the belt.
Yeah. Well, which belt? Which belt do you want?
I don't know, whichever.
Just any belt?
So if I lose a lot but then win the title fight, then I can have the belt.
That's right. That's right.
Fuck yeah.
So
there's always a chance.
there's always a chance.
I mean, I mean, we're stretching it.
Yeah, he keeps telling me that the tall guy always wins, but not when we fight.
I'm gonna crush your face with my elbow. I'm serious.
Yeah.
So
It's good to have a dream.
but yeah, so I gave them like Dan and this other girl for their fight, but they couldn't find any opponents for them, so we didn't go down.
Okay.
But yeah, they were gracious enough to. So we did have like
That
was
was
kind of
tense.
like stars aligning. You know what I mean?
That is really
and,
tense. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure if Belle wants to hear how fragile this whole enterprise was. But this is kind of cool to hear all these pieces.
Teetering on
So-
the edge.
You're lucky you came to the Ace.
Yes.
That's right.
So you've got venue, you've got
Doctor.
doctor.
So this was the other thing that I remember you saying was that after you get the venue, you have to get the doctor. Because without the doctor, it's not... Because you get the venue, you get MTO, says yes, and you have to get a doctor, because otherwise the show doesn't go on. So, yeah, can you just talk about confirming the doctor?
Yeah, well, we got Dr. Dave. Like you guys met Dr. Dave, so he's actually pretty prominent doctor, and like that does a lot of fights in Ontario. So he's great. He does like professional boxing and everything. So he's done tons of amateur shows, so he knows his way around. So, and he pretty much like to us, he'll do it unless he can't do it. So it's great to have that contact.
I even loved how he was like, yeah, I'll totally talk on your... Like, we filmed him. He's going to be...
Yeah.
Dr. Dave will be, making some commentary in probably at least one, maybe a couple of the shows. We did have a pretty decent interview with him.
Yeah.
So we tried to... A couple of the guys that we took interviews from, we'll kind of put it through a couple of the episodes, in theory, maybe. But maybe Dr. Dave, maybe in one or two, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
But he was a character.
He was good. He was awesome. It was fantastic. One of the things he said was, he's like, these guys they have a fire in their belly and they need to get in the ring. You know what I mean? It's a necessary thing. So rather they get it out here in a controlled environment, rather than whatever they're going to do in order to, as an outlet.
Right. So now, one thing that my wife, we had a really nice long argument about, which was wonderful, was she was saying that she wanted to see hot ring boys. Now, what I said was, you got to see hot ring boys, and those were the boys
fighters
that were fighting. Right? These guys are ripped. They're out there. They're sweating and they're punching each other in the face. So that's your eye candy. And the ring girls were the boys' eye candy. And I said, you still have probably 90% of the crowd is rowdy dudes there to watch the thing. Now, I love having these discussions with my wife, though. Legitimately, because we've had a lot of with the Me Too movements and all that kind of stuff. We've had a lot of talk about, models and things like that. Like you see women and and for us it's the discussion that we've always had is all about consent. If a young lady wants to dress up in like a bathing suit and be a ring girl or be a swimsuit model or et cetera, this is all about consent. If they want to do it, amazing, right? But she was like, why isn't there some equality there? Now, my question to you is, have you ever seen scantily clad ring boys with the round 2, round 3 signs?
I can't say I have.
See, we could, again, headbutting and ring boys. We could change Kitchener-Waterloo forever.
In a banana hammock.
Now, you go to a major Muay Thai event. You go to UFC, and for the first time ever, they blow everyone's mind. And out comes like Enrique, ripped, banana hammock, round 2 sign. Is there mass panic? Is there like, what is happening? Is Joe Rogan like, yes, finally,
Equality.
We're UFC first.
Hashtag me too.
I think it has to say like on the back of the card, it'll say round 2, and then on the back it has to say like hashtag equality or something. Like you have to
Hashtag
know
feminism.
you have to know what the message is, because
Right.
you
Yeah.
just
Otherwise, you're like, what's happening?
yeah.
This is very strange. I came here to see a bikini-clad girl.
My suggestion is that Joe Rogan come on our show and talk about this very exact situation.
Oh, I have no doubt he will email or call you tomorrow.
He probably listens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 2 fan after
Yeah.
your dad.
Yeah, fair enough.
So now there's a lot of cancellations. There is a lot. How many did you have for this show?
You know, I was actually surprised at the amount of cancellations we had, because it was on TV. And, you know,
It's
but-
funny how that didn't matter.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah.
For me, it was strange. Like, we talked to the University of Waterloo fighters, and their coach was like, "Yeah, they're doing exams. They just don't care." I'm like, well, this is a cool opportunity. These guys are gonna be doctors soon. Like, they don't. They don't want to get punched in the head when they're about to. But
yeah, I think we had like, well, the whole process, it's like, it does happen very organic, right? So, and I mean, like, trust me, I have like my master list, my secondary list, my third and fourth list, and like I'm constantly updating and editing, and what I'm never doing is thinking that anything is set in stone.
right.
And like I'll constantly be like, oh, I have these 2 guys matched up, and then, you know, I always have to like confirm that this camp will confirm it, and then in return that this camp confirms it.
Right.
But then, like, okay, I got these 2 camps lined up, so what'll happen is, like, maybe I have a third guy that meets the criteria there, right? So he's kind of in the background. So then, like, one of these guys for some reason cancels, so then I pull that guy in, and then I gotta be like, okay, now I have this matchup for you, do you want it? And then they're like, yeah, we'll take that. And then I gotta go back to this one and be like, oh, this guy pulled out, but I have this sub guy. Do you want that match instead? And then they might be like, no, I don't want that match. And then I'm like, oh, okay. So then now I got these 2 guys again that have no matches, right? And then I'm just waiting for the third. So it, like, all in all, like, there's cancellations that happen, but then there's matches that get made up, right? So, like, from the final card, like, I think we had
But I think we
3
ended up
matches.
with 9, right?
But we had 3 matches, like, or 2 of them that were like from the show that got canceled, right?
Yeah.
Like, for sure. So I think there was 3 like from the show that got canceled that we were able to like maybe make up a different match or something. Like Stefan got canceled, right? John Park got canceled. I feel like someone from Guelph got canceled or something like that, or
Well, yeah, the guy from Guelph blew his knee.
Yeah,
Ethan.
Yeah.
Ethan got canceled.
And
And
another
then
guy
Darkside.
from Double Dragon,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
old Jeff.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeffson.
With the kidney that is not
Yeah.
protected by his rib cage.
and then one guy broke his nose from Double Dragon as well. Darkside pulled one of their guys. So
Right.
like right there, we just named like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's tough.
And like those are all matches that we had that
that went away. Turned into hot air.
We might have talked about this, but Jeff from Double Dragon, he you know, now, you know, whether he talked to the doctor at the appropriate time or whatever, but when he got told that he couldn't spar even anymore, he came to the fight, and you could tell he was so upset.
Do you know what? He was watching those fights. You could tell in his eyes he just wanted to be getting into the ring.
Yeah.
Like he wanted it. You know, it had been something he wanted for a long time, and then the doctor says, I mean, moral of the story is don't get shot. It's a bad idea.
Stop it! Don't.
No, don't do that.
Yeah. So how did you? I mean, what did you think of fight night in general?
Oh, I thought it was great. I mean, it definitely it went smooth. Like I've put on a lot of shows or whatever, or like enough shows. And that show definitely, it was like smooth run on my end. I felt that like you guys ran pretty smooth, like you guys didn't get in my way. Not that I thought you were gonna, but you know, I've got it down to a pretty good system now where like I know what to expect and what is going on. So for me, the fight night went awesome. I mean, I thought the crowd was awesome. I love the fact that like all the different gyms invested into it.
That was a big deal. So just to touch on that, because it was not your event and you weren't gonna be your fighters weren't gonna be fighting everyone. What we ended up deciding is that each gym should put in a little bit of money. Right. They would receive tickets for the door. So essentially, because putting on a fight does require an investment. You got to put the money in, and then you make money then the money comes back to you from the ticket sales. Right. So you saying to us, well, look, guys, I mean, I'm organizing the thing, but I'm not going to put the $8,000 down for the show to happen. You know what I mean? It's not. This isn't really my show, and we were like, well, we don't have $8,000 to put down onto the show, or whatever the deposit amount was that we needed, and so we went to each gym. We approached each gym. We got about $1,200 from each gym, and they put in $1,200, and they received 40 tickets each. That would make whatever the number of tickets was, and that number of tickets would get them their money back. Yeah. So the $1,200. So essentially, they weren't putting any money in, but they were helping us by giving us a deposit, so the money that we were able to put the show on. And it really was a community effort. Yeah. Like everybody sort of climbed in and got involved together.
Yeah, so personally, I think that's like, and if you're gonna have say like one driver, you know, I thought that was like the fairest way to do it. And you know, like obviously from my perspective, typically when I have a show, I want to have like, I'm trying to find like 5 or 6, 7 fights of my guys so that I know I can sell, you know.
And when you're doing your own show, it doesn't have to be local guys either.
Exactly.
So that's because you're kind of bringing everybody out to see your guys. It's a big event, and you can bring people in from all over. Where we were kind of putting constraints on you, and again, like all the rigmarole that you had to do was worsened by the fact that we were really trying to get local fights if we could, right? But at some point, we just couldn't, right? And like some of the clubs that we were talking to, they were like, well, we've got this great guy, but there's no one in town that can fight this guy, so I'm not gonna put him in this show. We're gonna send him off to wherever to fight somebody that for a bigger title or whatever.
Yeah. So like dealing with those types of constraints, like I thought that was a very good way to overcome that hurdle at least, and you know, it makes it a community. It makes everyone accountable. So it was a good thing.
I think it would be interesting if clubs did that more often, right? Like teamed up in that sort of vein, because again, you know, even though it was the 6 gyms in town that we put on our show, there were still a couple other gyms from around that came. Now, if they're able to, again, buy tickets and sell, and everybody's able to buy in advance, sorry, I keep knocking my thing, but you know, that just, it's less of a burden on the main person that's putting it on, you know. But anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it is good, and it is a community. Like you can really tell when you go, it's a whole world that someone from the outside, myself, stepping into this world, I knew nothing about this.
I would have assumed that you guys hate each other, but you know, a Wolfgang that runs Guelph MMA. When we went to talk to him, he was like, well, why don't you guys just all get in a room and we'll all discuss things and see how we all want to push forward. We were like, genius, because prior to that, we were running out here, running out here. And, you know, that day when you guys all got together and we're like, okay, well, this is what we want to do. I mean, that really set things in motion. And, you know, I think that, everybody seemed to work pretty well together.
Yeah.
You know, the one day that we brought all the people to your gym to get some of the special shots, you know, here's a whole bunch of fighters that are going to be punching each other in the face, and they're all just sitting in the corner chit-chatting and laughing and you know, waiting for us to do all of our filmmaking, which takes forever. But yeah, that was pretty cool.
Nice. So you just saw a rough cut of the episode there. How are you feeling about it? How do you
I thought it was awesome. Right from the beginning, like the first little opening montage, I got the goosebumps. I told you guys. So you know, like I said too, it wasn't even my two fighters in that first episode, and I was like totally interested. It was funny because you guys were kind of talking. I'm like, hey, quiet.
Shut the fuck up. And, you know, it's funny. Adrian, now I've seen the show.
Man, you guys watched this a million times already. This is my first time. Be quiet.
Okay, good.
Adrian's seen it way more than me. I've seen it a lot, and he was like, see, when you're a filmmaker, you gotta be careful, because when you're a filmmaker, I want to tell you to shut up, because you see all the you immediately see all the stuff you've already fixed in version 4. You think, oh, I wish I could have done this. So you're going like, and don't worry, this is whatever. And I could see he's like, just shh, I just want to hear what's happening here. Oh, man, good stuff.
Okay, good.
Even right at the end, you know, I showed my wife and a couple other people, and I immediately after the first one I said, so, are you ready to watch 4 more? And they were like, yes! And I was like, too bad.
They're not finished yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So good. I'm really happy to hear that.
No, I
we don't want to give anything away, but
I find it really interesting because I know of and I've seen like both those fighters around, and it was just like it was interesting getting to know them like from the show, and you know, like, oh, I didn't know that about that guy. To me, he's just that guy from that gym, you know, and but then, you know, oh, he actually is like
a
normal.
person.
Yeah,
he's like a human.
Yeah. So
some of the fighters aren't. You hang tight. You watch all the episodes, you're gonna know who we mean.
All right,
that
now,
makes me excited.
Chris, we have a couple questions that we ask all of our guests right at the end here.
Oh yeah, first are we gonna do trivia?
Yeah.
Wait,
amazing. Are we doing trivia first?
Let's
and
do
then
trivia
questions?
first, because
Okay.
Chris isn't gonna be able to beat us at movie trivia. This is
No,
gonna be amazing.
I'm pretty good at movie trivia.
Damn it. Here's the
and
problem.
this is new questions. These are from the we did
tell you
have questions.
I'll tell you a funny story. We're like,
God, was I talking?
yeah,
It's fine.
I
You
mean,
go
maybe.
ahead. Go ahead.
See,
First
here's the
rule of
thing.
podcast.
Yeah,
That's right.
Cut the person off.
See, we think of ourselves as, you know, film buffs, but as it turns out,
No,
we have this
we know nothing.
director's cut, the ultimate movie game. So we would ask ourselves,
But it's
these questions.
old though, and when it's like 20 years old. So it's asking you questions about movies that are like that we
Classics.
have no idea about.
I'd probably do the best like 80s and 90s.
Oh man, this is
Here we
it.
go.
Here,
Well,
this
we're
is
gonna
it.
do
Seen it.
Seen It here.
Yeah, so
I don't
these
know.
are new questions. So the game's gonna go differently because usually we would not know any question. We would not know any answers.
I don't know how to play this game.
So all we're gonna do is, now you don't look at the answers because you can also guess.
Okay.
But I don't know which you think we should do. Let's do S or P.
Yeah, I
Let's
think
do P.
anyone can do
Anyone.
that,
Okay,
yeah.
here we go.
So let's do. Are we doing P?
Sure, let's do P. All right,
Okay.
go for it.
What actor kept Colin Farrell on the line in 2013's phone booth?
Oh, Colin Farrell.
I mean, I know. I remember the movie.
Kiefer Sutherland.
I've never seen that movie. I'm gonna say like I think it's like a black guy, like Jamie Foxx or
Jamie Foxx.
Denzel
Okay.
Washington.
Okay, I'm just gonna go with. I'm the. I'm not gonna say anything. Kiefer Sutherland, son of a gun.
I never win this game, so here we go. All right, you're up.
Jason.
Okay.
Here we go. Oh, if Muay Thai guy beats us at movie trivia.
So we still are on P?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Always.
And I can just pick whatever one here.
No,
You're gonna do both.
We're gonna do
Oh,
both.
okay. So in Midnight Express, the main character was convicted of drug smuggling in what country?
Let's go with Colombia.
France.
I'm gonna say Mexico.
Nice. Probably Thailand.
Good
There we
call.
go.
Turkey. So
Turkey.
no one gets it?
Nobody knows.
All right, here we go.
So what do I do with this?
Now
Yeah,
then you can just throw them in the garbage.
Okay.
Oh,
Not
are
the-
we keeping these
Not
now?
the garbage.
Oh,
The-
right.
there are-
Recycling. They're paper.
There are
Recycling.
no. There are other questions on there.
Oh, my God.
Jerk.
Here we go. Sylvester Stallone starred in a porno movie before he hit it big. Fact or fiction?
Fact.
I'll say fiction.
Oh, come on, it's a fact.
I'll say fact too.
You can't say fact.
It's a fact.
It is a fact.
Oh, now I know what porno I need to watch. I know what my Google search is going to be after this episode.
Yeah. Porno? But that's not nothing to do with the question. That's just what you normally...
That's just the normal.
No matter
search.
what happens after trivia, I'm going to win.
I'm going to watch porno.
Right, sure.
John Candy, Rick Moranis, Andrea Martin, and Eugene Levy all got their start on SCTV, a Canadian comedy show.
Yeah.
What does SC stand for?
I really feel like you guys should know this.
Silly Canadians.
I was going to go with Smart Canadian.
I was totally thinking something more technical, but I don't know.
Second City,
Ah,
the comedy club in Toronto.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we're still under P?
We're still under P, but for the record, just in case anyone's counting, I'm winning.
By one.
By one.
I mean, that's all it takes.
Name the actress who has been romantically linked to Brent Spinner, Timothy Dalton, and Ted Danson.
Rebecca Romaine Stamos.
What?
I don't even know who that is. Timothy.
Yeah, that's crazy. You don't know who that is.
Um,
Isn't Brent Spinner like the guy from
Star Trek.
Star Trek?
Yeah, Data.
Data?
He's a player.
He wasn't never going out with Rebecca, but or what'd you
Stamos.
what's her name?
Rebecca Romaine.
I recognize the name and I'd recognize her face, but I don't know.
Ted Danson.
I'm gonna say
Kimberly.
Kim Basinger.
Yes.
I'm gonna say Neve Campbell.
Oh man, no ways.
No, I know. There's no ways. I
All
don't
right.
know the answer.
Oh my God.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
What? I actually knew that Whoopi Goldberg was linked to Ted Danson. Brent Spiner.
Well, you should have thought because
I
she was
should've.
on the Star Trek. They were getting it on in the holodeck.
Oh, they were.
Data and Guinan. Oh my god. Amazing. That's hot. Okay.
Not really.
It's the suits. The suits are hot. The suits are hot.
You gotta go for Troy.
Yeah, fair enough.
Counselor
In
Troy.
1989, Michael Keaton portrayed... Come on.
Batman.
Well, I gotta finish the question. In 1989, Michael Keaton portrayed a superhero that protected this city.
Gotham.
Gotham.
I mean,
So that's one each.
that's
So,
one. We gotta go one more time.
Deal breaker
There we
or
go.
the breaker.
There we go.
Okay, here we go. Name the first woman to direct a film that grossed more than $100 million at the box office. Now, bear in mind, this is probably before Wonder Woman.
Okay, so, sorry, say that question again.
So, name the first woman to direct a film that grossed more than $100 million at the box office.
And this is before.
Sophia Coppola.
Probably a good decision. I'm going to go with Reese Witherspoon
Reese Witherspoon.
for Legally Blonde.
Wow.
She directed Legally Blonde.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I've seen that movie a lot.
It's
I just
good.
want
It's a
everybody
good film.
to know.
Never seen it.
Oh, it's good stuff. Could
For,
be Reese,
for various reasons.
could be
I
Reese
assume.
Witherspoon's best movie. For
Now I
sure.
gotta watch it.
It's awesome.
Okay, I'm drawing blanks for female directors.
Penny Marshall
It was Penny Marshall.
for Big. Oh, that's her.
Penny
That is
Marshall?
Penny Marshall for Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But for Big. What is
Wow.
big?
Tom
Big
Hanks.
with Tom Hanks.
Shoot.
All right, this one might be up your guys' alley here.
Yes.
Name the actor who has been romantically linked to Naomi Campbell.
Shit.
Brett Spiner.
Yeah. Elle McPherson and Madonna. Name the actor who
Willem
has...
Dafoe.
Willem
Damn.
Dafoe to Madonna. Madonna. You think Madonna would kiss Willem Dafoe? Would give him one?
Have you seen Body of Evidence? I don't even think that was Willem Dafoe, but that's my guess. You think Madonna would kiss Willem Dafoe? No.
Sacrilege. Ella McPherson. Who's the guy? Who's the bad guy in Wild Things?
Oh,
His name starts with a
Timothy
D.
Dalton?
No, it doesn't start with a D. Doesn't his name?
I know who you're thinking of.
Yeah. He
Who's
was also in something about
Kevin
Mary.
Bacon?
No.
No, something about Mary. He's also in something about Mary.
I used to be better at movie trivia, I should
Okay,
say.
I'm gonna pick that guy. I don't
Okay.
know what his name is.
I have no clue. I was going to say Seal. Sean Penn.
Sean Penn.
That's not who we were thinking of, though.
Not at all.
My favorite Sean Penn movie these days is The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. He's in it for about 5 seconds,
Greatest performance ever.
where he's in that picture and he does the little thing.
Come to me,
All right, here we go.
Walter Mitty.
Charlie Chaplin's remains were stolen and held for ransom. Fact or fiction? I mean, it seems like
Fact.
that's got to be a fact.
I'm gonna go with fact.
Yeah, that's a fact. 100. Okay, so this show's got to be over. It's a tiebreaker. Good job, everyone. Way to go. Not garbage? Okay.
Well, no, you actually won because you would have got your question right as well. So
I mean,
you would have
I
gone
will-
to 2 and we would have
I
gone
will
to
100% take the win, no matter what
Yeah,
happens.
just
Here's the
shut-
thing.
Shut your mouth.
When the rounds are close, but at the end, the referee holds one person's hand up, you don't go, listen, it was close. I don't need to accept the win. You just take the win and move on. That's my understanding. All
Yeah.
right, so here's our other question. Chris, desert island movies. So, what are your 3 movies that you would? They don't have to be your favorite movies of all time, but movies that you watch over and over and over again, forever.
This is now your mic since that one, the batteries have died.
Oh,
So just 3 movies that I watch over and over again?
yeah.
What are the 3 movies that you take with you to a desert island that you would be okay watching again and again?
My understanding is there's a Sylvester Stallone porno movie out there.
No, that was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Man. I don't even know. Honestly, I stopped watching movies so long ago. I feel terrible right now.
Or TV show?
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of TV either, but
Have you seen a movie?
the last movie I seen was Avengers. That was pretty good, but I don't know if I'd watch it over and over again. I'm just thinking of movies that I have watched over and over again. I've watched funny enough, I've watched The Notebook a couple of times over and over again.
That is a great movie. That is a great That's cool, man.
I'm not afraid to say it.
It's like, why don't you
Why don't you
Why
come
don't you try to make fun of me?
Yeah,
for
why don't you
watching
come over
that
to TKO, the gym that I own, and come and tease me in the ring?
Hi, I'm Chris Grieg at Kru Chris Grieg on Twitter. My favorite movie is The Notebook.
I know what. Maybe not that I would watch it over and over again, but one movie I really liked growing up was Kickboxer, the Van Damme movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Greatest Muay Thai movie of all time.
That has a lot of inspirational spots in it, and I'm all about when I do watch movies, I like the kind of sci-fi or the ones that leave you thinking at the end. I'm just trying to think of one that would be really good, but
Dirty Dancing, Havana Nights.
yeah, something along the lines of a thinking movie.
Like maybe not like Donnie Darko.
You know, I haven't even seen Donnie Darko, but I've heard it's pretty good. But
Yeah.
but like like for instance, like say the Matrix, right? Like if you just left the Matrix at the very first Matrix, like that could go anywhere in your brain,
Yeah.
right? But then they made the sequels, and then it was like, oh, that's where you guys were going with that. That's not where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
But
So the Matrix,
So the Matrix.
without the rest.
Just the Matrix.
but I don't think I would pick that one because I've already seen it enough times. You know, I'm just trying to think of like the last movie I watched that like
Blew your mind.
made me think. But that's why I don't watch movies anymore, because they just don't blow my mind anymore. Maybe you guys should hook me up with some movies
We should
that I
give
should
that some
watch.
serious consideration. What was the last movie that blew your mind? I'll tell you the last movie that I came out of the movie theater with that kind of ecstatic feel.
Yeah.
You know, like it didn't blow my mind. Like I wasn't like, oh my god, I got to think about the movie that I thought about the most. And we talked about this ages ago, but the movie that I thought about was It Follows.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen It Follows?
No.
Yeah, It Follows is good. You should give that a watch. That'll be
I
good.
thought about that one a lot. I thought about Mother a lot.
Yeah, so I would say the last movie that really got me talking and thinking was Mother, because I came out of that movie hating it,
Yeah.
and then I as I talked through it, I changed my opinion, and I decided that maybe it was genius, maybe it was, maybe he was smarter than what it seems like when you're watching the movie. You're like, this is just dumb, stupid crap. But when you come out and I thought about it, yeah, it kind of rocked my world a little bit.
Yeah, the movie that I came out of the theater just like so happy about, so full of like that's what a movie was all about, is Ready Player One.
Ready Player One, and I was gonna say that.
Fucking loved that.
So
movie.
it just depends, like what kind of mind you want to have blown. Because Ready Player One, in terms of being like an action adventure, like there were points when I was watching that where like I just like the giant gorilla was like hopping along the buildings as this guy's driving his car as fast as he can, and I realized at the end of the sequence that I wasn't really breathing. I was like, you know.
Ready
So that was
Player
awesome.
One, is that like an action movie? Or?
Yeah, it's Steven Spielberg's latest action movie.
Okay.
So it's just come out probably a couple months ago. So
I think it's Blu-ray soon, and let me tell you, it's.
I mean, it's just like good fun action. Like you're not going to be thinking about it afterwards. Like in terms of like, oh, that really like, but like just good, clean fun.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch that show on Netflix? It's Black Mirror.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seen all of them.
Yeah, I haven't seen all of them, but I started watching that, and that has some pretty good concepts that will like make you think after.
Some of them mess you up.
That's a really good show because they ask some really tough questions about the life that we're living and where we're going. You know, some of the decisions.
What would you say? Let me just tell you. The one that messed me up the most, I think, was the Bee one. Do you remember that one?
I've only seen the first two the seasons,
Okay.
which I think was only like 8 episodes or something, because the first two are only 4.
So do you remember the one I'm talking about?
The B one? Just remind me.
There's an episode where they go, okay, how does it work?
Oh, yes.
We're on Twitter. On Twitter.
Yeah.
And everyone on Twitter today gets to do hashtag kill this person.
Yeah. And then
Now you can say whoever you want. But what they do is the person that gets the most hashtag kill this guy, they're going to kill him. And now they don't know how they die. You find out later on. But nobody knows how they die, but they just die. Right? Yeah. And so it becomes this thing. We did hashtag kill this guy and he died. So now we're going to hashtag kill this person. And the way it works is, if no one does a hashtag kill somebody, they pick a random person, they kill that person every day. Every day they're going to kill somebody new.
That is crazy.
It was really fucked up, because you're like, I could see that happening, because assholes on the internet would 100% be like, oh, I'll hashtag kill this guy.
Yeah.
And somebody would die every day, right? And it went on for like, I can't remember how long it went on for in the show. It was like a couple weeks or a month, and every day somebody was getting killed by this game, right? And it's sick, but
Do you
you're
know
like,
what-
oh, I could see this happening.
Do you know what the one that messed me up the most of the Black Mirror series is? All of a sudden, these guys get locked into this game. So they start getting text messages. They're like, you got to go here. You got to go here. Otherwise, we will release this information.
Right.
And a whole group of players get locked into this game because they've all done something morally wrong. And the character that we're following, we don't really know what he's done. And we're like, just like, fucking, who cares? Just walk away. You know what I mean? And then as you get on, you kind of right at the end, you figure out what this guy's done. And it's that one, I was like, because I was so pissed off throughout the episode.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he it's fine. Just leave the game. Let them put what you did on, it can't be that bad. And then the ball drops. And you're like, oh, shit.
Maybe he's not so innocent.
He's not so
Yeah, that episode is great.
That was a hard episode as well.
I've actually really enjoyed almost all of them. I don't think there's been a one that I've been like, this was dumb.
Yeah.
Because they do just genius things.
Yeah.
Now, did you know that the series is written, when it comes up, it's written by a single guy?
I did not know that.
When you watch it, it's usually it's one name written by. Like I think there's
But a different guy or just
no, it's the same guy
same
each
guy
time.
Each time, yeah.
And he might have, like, I don't know if he has people underneath him writing. It would be really interesting because that's a lot of concept to come out of one brain, man. That's a lot of brain work.
It kind of all follows the same sort of like social media future tech, but it's not coming from like I guess that's the same angle, but there's a lot of different like perspectives, right? So to come from one person, you're right. There's a lot.
And I think when I saw it the first season, I thought what was genius about it was, and maybe they've kind of changed it as the seasons have been going, but the first couple episodes, it's like the tech is there, it's very futuristic in some cases, but they never really focus on, like, the story is not about the technology, it's about people. It's really about how people are fucked up in general, right? Like, do you remember the one where it's like the rice in their head and they can go back and see everything they've ever seen?
Yeah.
So he just obsesses about this one moment with his girlfriend and his wife and her ex-boyfriend.
Right.
And he's able to rewind it and replay it. It becomes obsessed, and it ends up ruining.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. It's good
great
stuff.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay, listen, guys. I gotta go to bed.
Get the heck out of my house.
Get the fuck out of here.
This is how all of our shows end. Now, actually, we've started to try to keep our shows to a half hour. So this is a special 1 hour and a half episode, almost.
Maybe you should split them into.
What?
Yeah.
All right.
You gotta do another introduction. Episode 37.
Do you know what? I would have just shut her down. Chris is over here telling us what we did, do another introduction. You're right, we do. I'm surprised we didn't think about
No,
that.
we're just going to do part 1. Part 2.
Just pick it up where you left off.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You need to go sit in the corner and be like, on this episode, if you can remember what's happened last time. No, you're not going to do that. Well, that's it for our show. Again, thanks, Chris. Like, you guys are you're gonna see Chris in a couple different episodes because he's got two of the episodes
have his fighters.
Yeah, so
Dan and Justin.
He's gonna be intermixed and telling his story about his gym and how he feels about Muay Thai and all that kind of stuff. But thanks for coming on the show and walking us through that stuff. And of course, just you're welcome back on our show to talk more shit about whatever. Like a month ago, we sat down to talk, and Chris talked our ear off about Naruto for like 3 hours. So we could probably talk about that again. But anyways, yeah. Again, thanks for just helping us get the show going, and hopefully it'll be a huge success, and we'll see where we go from here. But thanks for being a part of the whole shebang.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure being a part of the whole shebang, so thank you.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Adios, muchachos. Dream big. Work hard. Thanks for watching.
First frames first.
Yes. First frames first. Thank you, Jason.
Welcome.
If you enjoyed, head over to our website, www.thefableforest.com. Check out our films and sign up for our newsletter where we will send you exclusive content.
Hit us up on our socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, always at The Fable Forest. And share our show with your friends. It'll really help us out a lot.
Dream big.
Work hard.